Hey, what's up everyone? Miss Volume Master here, and today I'm going to be giving you the Sylvan deck profile for the Sylvans I was playing around with in the live stream a week or two back. And it's mostly Sylvans, honestly, although the plays it produces, you could almost argue it's more of just a Synchro or Xyz spam deck than than anything else, because, well, Sylvan, there aren't many Sylvans, if any, left on the board at the end of the turn, but you could kind of argue that for most decks in existence, I suppose. So even though the plays it performs to produce the powerful fields this deck can give you, even though they oftentimes involve a lot of Lone Fire and Dandelion and Spore and whatnot, well, I mean, look at this. How can you not argue it's a Sylvan? But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. Got 2 Hermitry, 2 Sequoia, 2 Guardioak, which, like, nobody plays. I have no idea why, because there's a number of advantages this thing has that the others don't. But, I'm going to pause here and say this deck might look a little strange to you guys. Like, you know, there's a number of ways you can see it could be optimized better than it is, and honestly, that's kind of because I wanted to put a little bit of everything in the deck, and I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to commit to. Sylvans definitely strikes me as a deck that could become a number of different decks, or could be taken quite a number of different directions equally well, all depending on your play style and what you want to produce. I mean, this deck can so easily throw up multiple Xyz monsters in the same turn, thanks to Princess Sprout and the Hermitry and the Sequoia and the Guardioak, and Spore can come back as almost any level it wants. And it can come back as it's a tuner, so you can easily bring this thing back as like a level 6 or 7, and then you can use it along with a Sequoia or a Guardioak to make an Ultimaya. So I mean, you can so easily make like multiple Xyz plays in the same turn here, or you can put an Ultimaya on board, or you can put multiple Synchro monsters on board. Like, you can put up a Crystal Wing plus, like, you know, the Naturia Beast in the same turn quite easily. You know, there's so many different things this deck can do, but the problem more than anything else is the extra deck. I mean, this extra deck right now, I finally decided for the stream to commit to making Quasar Dragon and Blazar Dragon. I decided, okay, the objective of this deck is going to be to make these cards here. And, This card should not be in here. I threw this in here because I was thinking I would run a small Speedroid engine, but then I remembered, wait, I'm going to have to commit 3 more cards to that one guy. I can't remember, the level 3 Synchro that can spam the field with himself. Anyway, I'd have to commit more cards in the extra deck to that, and I didn't want to do it, so this thing shouldn't even be in here. But anyway, you know, I decided to ultimately commit the extra deck to making this. And since I made most of these things in the couple of duels I played, like a lot of them, a couple of them here and there, no, but most of them I either did or I easily had opportunity to if the situation had been a little bit different. So if you want to make, like, the high-level Synchros, you have to commit most of your extra deck to that with just 1 or 2 slots left over for other things. If you want to commit to the Xyz plays and the Ultimaya plays, you don't have nearly enough room to make these kinds of Synchros. You can leave in a couple level 7s, a couple level 6s, but you have to trim out like at least 1 Formula Synchron. You'd have to trim out the level 12s, of course. You'd probably want to trim out 1 of your level 7s, maybe 1 of the level 5s, like the High Speedroid Kambara, and then you'd have some extra deck slots for things like Ultimaya, another Crystal Wing, maybe a couple of Xyz monsters, but you get the idea. A lot of decks, and Sylvan's in a way more than any other deck, well, maybe that's going a bit far, but Sylvans definitely have to be in the top 5 decks, like, in existence that are hurt the most because of the extra deck. I mean, Sylvans could easily run 30 cards in the extra deck and make them all with ease and enjoy running them all, like 30 cards at least, if Konami would give them the ability to do so. Now, strictly speaking, you can say, well, yeah, any deck could run 30 cards in the extra deck and it wouldn't hurt them, but honestly, let's be 100% honest. I'm going to take Dragonides as an example, because of course I'm a master at Dragonides, I love them and all that. Dragonides would love to have 20 cards in the extra deck, but they really don't need more than 20 to 21 cards in the extra deck. It wouldn't hurt them to have more than that, but it really wouldn't help them too terribly much more. Like, 20 would be an amazing number for Dragonides to have in the extra deck. But Sylvans could easily have half again as many, and you know it would, and they would just, it would be absolutely amazing for them. So yeah, you have to commit to some kind of build, and this is ultimately the build I decided to go with, and yeah. But that's a lot of rambling. Let's just go ahead and keep moving on. One Flower Knight, simply for the Naturia Beast play. There's like no other reason for this, to be completely honest. 2 Martial Leaf and 2 Kamoshrumo. These are going to be used to hopefully get rid of some of your opponent's stuff in case you're going on turn 2. Your opponent's gone first. This can help you just get rid of a couple of things potentially. Martial Leaf can be a decent normal summon because you can excavate 1 or 2 and get some plays rolling, but that's not going to really come up too much. This one has a flip effect. It's a good flip effect, but the fact is it's a flip effect, so it's way too slow. 3 Peacekeeper, 3 Princess Sprout, 3 Cherub Sprout. These are definitely like the MVPs of Sylvans. These cards all give you so much when they are excavated. I mean, this one gets to, when it's special summon, you get to excavate 1 or 2, and if it's sent to the graveyard, if it's excavated, you get to bring out like your Glow-Up Bulb, your Spore, your Rose Lover if you wish, or you can bring out one of your other ones like your Peacekeeper. You know, there's so much that this can give you access to. The Princess Sprout can come back as any level you want. You can go for like any Synchro play that you could possibly think of all the way up to level 8, or you can use her to go for any Xyz play you can think of, depending what else you have on board, of course. Peacekeeper giving you the ability to target a plant-type monster, not just a Sylvan, but a plant-type monster. So if this thing is excavated, you get to bring back a Lone Fire, you can bring back a Dandelion, so much stuff you can do with this. All of them staples at 3. Lone Fire, obviously a staple at 3 in this build. 1 Dandelion, 2 Rose Lover, just to kind of fill in a little bit of a gap. 1 would be just fine, but I had the extra spot in the deck, so it's like, I'll just throw in a second. 1 Spore, 1 Glow Bulb. You could almost trim out 1 Rose Lover for a second Spore, because sometimes there are times where you want the second one in the deck for something like the Cherub Sprout. I could see that being a thing. Or you could do the second Glow Bulb, but one or the other, whichever one you feel you'll like having around more. 3 Super Solar Nutrient. This card is amazingly good in this deck. 3 Left Arm Offering. This is kind of the whole purpose for the deck. This deck, basically what you want to do is get to a Lone Fire and get to a Soul Charge. I did in the very first duel on the stream last time, which was amazing, and I got to pull off a Blazar Dragon first turn. I actually could have made that plus a second really good Synchro if I had formulated my strategy slightly better, but I was a little pressed up against the time if I recall correctly, so I kind of had to hustle a little bit. And I nearly pulled off a really good Synchro play on the second duel. I just messed up because I summoned the wrong Lone Fire at the wrong time. But anyway, the whole point of this deck is to get to this, which thanks to the 3 Lone Fire and the 3 Super Solar Nutrient, which you have so many level 1s and 2s in here you can use with this, it's not even funny. So you can get to this super easily, and then Left Arm basically gives you 4 copies of Soul Charge. So all you do, get 1 Lone Fire onto the field, you activate the Left Arm Offering, get the Soul Charge, tribute the Lone Fires for themselves, and then something else, you Soul Charge them all back. You're basically guaranteed either like 1 super powerful monster like a Blazar Dragon, or multiple really strong monsters in the same turn. Like we're talking Crystal Wing plus a rank 8 or something like that. You can do all of that, and then depending on what else you make, I mean, let's say you make a Hyper Librarian somewhere along the way, you get to replenish your hand a few cards as well. If you don't go for the Hyper Librarian, you may well have another good Synchro or Xyz monster, so you might end up going -1 or 2 off of it, but you establish such a strong board it probably doesn't even matter. But long-winded way of saying, the whole point of this deck is to simply resolve Soul Charge with Lone Fire, which is one of the strongest interactions in the game even today. There's like so many things that plants can do, it's just insane. We have, let's see, 3 Sylvan Charity, this gives you more consistency and more speed. I mean, it's basically impossible to not get a Sylvan into your hand at the beginning of the duel. So let's say you open up one of these things, then you get like a Super Solar Nutrient, but you don't have a left arm offering, or the other way around, Sylvan Charity, draw 3 cards. That's so good. And then you get to stack the top of your deck. I mean, there's so many times you get to put the cards on top of your deck however you want in such a way that you summon out something like, I don't know, let's say you summon out a Peacekeeper and then you excavate the top card of your deck. And it's like, oh, look at that. I just happened to excavate a Cherub Sprout. So I use Cherub Sprout and then you get a Glow-Up Bulb out of the deck. And then you use Super Solar Nutrient to get rid of the Peacekeeper into a Lone Fire. You get rid of all your Lone Fires, then activating a left arm offering. You've got, like, I mean, I don't think I have to explain to you how crazy that can be. There's just so many things that you can do. And Charity just helps the consistency to go way up. 1 Soul Charge, well, of course, I've already explained all that. 1 1-for-1, like I said, so many level 1s, so good. 1 Upstart, just to make it a 39-card deck. Extra deck, you've probably looked at all of it. I mean, you need multiple level 5s, obviously, if you're going to go into Blazar Dragon or Quasar Dragon. Let's see, a couple of level 6s. The Charge Warrior gives you an extra draw. The Vulcan, the Divine, can just help bounce some stuff on the field, potentially. Honestly, this guy's not all that amazing. You could trim it, take him out for something like Coral Dragon, but why would you run Coral Dragon unless you're going to run Ultimaya in this deck? It really doesn't make too much sense. Although that being said, you could use the level 6 plus a level 1 to go into a level 7 or something like that after that. So there could be that argument. Or you could use 2 level 1s from, say, like Dandelion going to level 8. But anyway, couple level 7s, couple of level 8s. Now you might be wondering, and we got the rank 1. These things are so good if you have enough room in the extra deck to really make use of them. Now you might be wondering, why in the world do you run the Guardioak? I figure I kind of have to give this a little bit of an explanation because most people don't even run this card. Well, the thing is, if you get it onto your field, it's the best one out of all 3, quite arguably. The reason being, because this, you get to excavate 1. This, you get to excavate 1. This one, you get to excavate up to 3, and as we all know, Sylvans are all about excavating. So there is that to consider. Now, as far as their effects that go when they are excavated in and of themselves, the Hermitry is arguably the best, but you know, the Guardioak is really good. You get to take a plant-type monster from your graveyard, put it on top of your deck, so you can take something, go ahead and put it back on that you haven't used yet that turn, or something you can use multiple times in the same turn anyway, and then you can go ahead and excavate that off of something else. Now, so Sage Quaya, I know you can bring it out from your hand super easily, but, you know, I don't know. I just, there's so many times I find Guardioak to be helpful. And another thing, let's say that let's say you get to resolve a Lone Fire play. Guardioak is like a guaranteed, a really good play that guarantees a Crystal Wing. Because what you do is you'll use your Lone Fires, bring out a Guardioak along with a Glow-Up Bulb and something else, right? Guardioak, you get to excavate 3. You probably get some really good effects off of the excavating, but even if you don't, you can then use the Glow-Up Bulb plus the Guardioak to go into a level 7, like let's say the Moonlight Rose Dragon. You get to use Glow-Up Bulb, send something to the graveyard, bring this thing back. You get to use that along with your level 7 to go into the Crystal Wing. You can't do that if you don't run Guardioak, because Sage Quaya is already a level 7, so you can't use this thing to go into Crystal Wing. You can't use Hermitry to go into Crystal Wing. The only way to do it is with Guardioak. The only other possible conceivable way of doing it in this deck, well, unless you go into like a level 6 Synchro here and a level 2 like a Formula or something like that. But I mean, the only other super easy way of making this is to like use a Spore plus a Sage Quaya to make an Ultimaya, and then you can use Ultimaya, bring out a Crystal Wing or something like that. But the point is, like, by far the best way of bringing out a Crystal Wing, which is an amazing card in this format, and just in the game in general, by far the easiest way to bring out Crystal Wing is making a Guardioak and going about it that way. And again, you get to excavate 3 cards, which is really, really good in a lot of situations. Alright, I think that's just about going to do it. I'll quick look at the side deck, which is not really a side deck. Like I said, you could make Xyz plays in here super easily. Thanks to like Hermitry plus Princess Spray, you can go into level 8s. You You can go into level 7s like Big Eye and Dragosack. You can make Ultimaya in here really, really easily. Let's see, you can make more Synchro plays like Omega and Coral Dragon. And if you run Coral Dragon here, that's another way to get to Ultimaya. And then there was just a couple of other cards I was looking at, which you can look at here if you want to read their effects. I felt they were all kind of cool, but I didn't feel any of them were quite good enough to actually justify playing in here. Actually, though, this one, Copy Plant, this one is really, really good. This one, if you want to trim out something, let's say you take out the Rose Lover. Let me trim that out. And you want to throw in the Copy Plant instead. As a matter of fact, I can't believe I didn't... I mean, I don't regret not putting it in here, but honestly, this thing, if you want to make an Ultimaya play or something, this is also another really, really good card to throw in here. And just for Xyz plays in general, I mean, you can super easily bring this thing off of so many different plays, and then, once per turn, it doesn't matter if you do it when it's summoned or at any point in your turn, just whenever you want. You go ahead and copy another plant-type monster that has a level. That's like the easiest Xyz play of all time. Or, again, you can make it as Ultimaya super easily. Alright, let's see, I think that's it. These spell cards are all really, really good, but I think rely on the normal summon too hard for the Miracle Fertilizer. The Mark of the Rose is really good, but, you know, I think it's a little too situational. Same with the Fragrant Storm. But yeah, all of these cards, plants have so many good cards going for them. It's just, what do you pick and choose what to put in a deck? It's pretty difficult. Alright, that's going to do it for this deck profile, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, comment, rate, and subscribe both to myself and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. Both channels are really amazing. And as always, guys, I'll see you all next time.